Back to the channel. This is a little bit different. We had a bit of a work emergency come up. My wife, who, as most of you know, who are a part of this channel, she is an attorney and normally works from her laptop whenever we're on the road. And unfortunately, when we came down here, she grabbed one charger and it wasn't the right charger to go directly in her computer. We've tried several ways to go about this, and unfortunately, she's having to use my computer right now. So this is the first stream where we are going live from my iPhone. So let me know how it's going in the comments. I am gonna real quick bring it up on a separate device so that I can kind of monitor it as well. But the biggest positive is that we are, without question, as you can probably hear, tell, and see, finally in Merida, Mexico after, 7 months of not being here. So we're excited to be here, excited for you all to be a part of it. And as I see that you guys are coming in live, thank you so much for being here. For those of you who are new to the channel, my name is Alexander Howell. I post here about real estate and all kinds of other stuff, but mainly focused around Merida, Mexico, where this channel has been concentrated for quite some time. But that's where we are today. Again, this is gonna look a little bit weird. The audio might be a little funky. I'm gonna try to follow along on my separate device that I have going right now. But just give me a couple of seconds to kind of get this going, and we'll start talking about it. This is not the video that we're gonna go through the tour of the Airbnb. I've got a few people that went to Chichen Itza today, and we've got the kids and kind of all the swimming equipment. They spent all morning swimming in the pool this morning. I wanna get the place tidied up, looking good, and that way I can show you some of the film that I've taken as we walk into the house, as we walk around the house, and that'll be fully edited and available live, hopefully here before too long. I'm just loading everything, as you can see right here, on the channel on this device so that we can kind of go forward with how things are. I'm really excited to be here. We got here, let's see, we flew in, geez, it was 4 days ago, and had a little bit of a nightmare when it came to, maybe the chat will work right here. There we go. But we had a few random things happen on our way down here. Flights got delayed about 3.5 hours, and then, geez, it was just kind of delay after delay. Our kids normally go to bed about 8 p.m. They woke up right as the plane was landing at about 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, and then we got them all in here. So it's been a bit, it's been a time, but we're getting through, right? We're definitely getting through. I apologize. I'm not sure why this is having such trouble bringing up this channel. It's a little weird. I've got my live chat available, so if you guys do decide, it shows that I should be able to access it here. Again, this is just totally different for me. I'm not used to having to work from my phone, so I'm hoping everything works out really well. There, it should be. Welcome to the live chat. Remember to guard your privacy. So if you guys comment, I should be able to see it at this point. But we've been live for now 3 minutes and haven't seen anything. So if you are on, please feel free to comment. That way I can kind of see if I'm actually able to track it on here. And I'm gonna keep adjusting the angle a bit. I'm used to my normal setup, so this is a little bit different. Oh, thank you, Tim. Really appreciate it, man. Tim, I did shave the beard. I did. It was an accident. I was gonna shave it a little closer this morning, and the trimmer thing fell off, and the buzzer just swiped half my beard off. So I was like, well, I guess I'm gonna go full 17-year-old Alex today. Thanks, Adrian. Appreciate it, man. Yeah, Tim and I actually met at Hennessy's, which is really close to where I'm staying. Yesterday, the day before yesterday. Days are kind of running together down here. Tim, awesome for hanging out with me and talking about your renovation. I'm excited for you, man. It's gonna be awesome. The blue house will eventually look fantastic, but like you said, they definitely found it on sale. So we are staying in one of the best, I think, my personal opinion, the best locations that you possibly can stay here. This is nowhere near where we are going to be when we actually have a house. We're in Chenbec, which is a great location. We're about 7 blocks to the east of Plaza Grande off Calle 57. And it's gonna be a great location, but it's south and east of where we are. Where we are now, we're a block off Paseo de Mateo, which is the #1 street, I'll say, in Merida. That's where kind of the action happens. And when you're a block off of there, you pretty much can go anywhere that any tourist or anybody who's living here full time would want to go. Hennessy's, where Tim and I met yesterday, or the day before yesterday, and where we actually had lunch yesterday, is probably the number one, I would say, expat location. Somebody else can argue with me and say that it's different, but from what I've seen, most expats are familiar with that particular restaurant. And when we went in there, that seemed like that was all that was in there for lunch yesterday. So wonderful place to go, but if you're looking for some of the more traditional places, they're everywhere. And from what I've seen, when you get down to Plaza Grande too, there's even more than that. So I would say if you're going to stay around Paseo de Mateo. If not, if you want to stay kind of in the newer area in Norte, in the north part of Merida, that's a nice place to stay, a little bit more spread out, a little bit more modern features and functionality. And then obviously the beach. We went to, and I think I posted about this, but it's definitely in the video that's coming out tomorrow where I kind of break down our first 48 hours here. But I recorded the other day. Editing is taking a little bit of time. But we went to Kokomo Club de Playa, I believe is where it is. It's a place just outside of Telchac Puerto. And man, it is a really nice setup. It's a small hotel, great place to just kind of go and enjoy the beach, enjoy the pool. They've got a nice little restaurant there. They have all kinds of different things. But they sell you a day pass, and it's not that much. We brought 6 people, and I think it was in and around $100 for basically the entire day. We were only there for a few hours, got to swim in the ocean, got the kids in the ocean, got the kids in the pool, in the sand, just kind of got that completely out of the way. So that was great. And then once that was done, we then took the private shuttle, which if you guys want, David Rivera Siberanis, who I've recommended in several of these videos, owns Yucatan Tours and Travels, and he arranged us to have a private bus basically all day because we had enough people. And we went from Kokomo Beach Club de Playa to Progreso and had an amazing meal at Crabster, which is not only a place that we missed on our first big trip, but a place that most of you have recommended several times. So that was a good day. My youngest is struggling a bit between the heat and the activity. So today we're actually at home all day long, just having kind of a nice pool day, a nice, watch a little Pokemon and Paw Patrol kind of day. And so it's worked out really well for that. But yeah, he's been a little grumpy. We've gotten him to the beach and then to Progreso and then the zoo yesterday, which I posted on our Facebook channel, or our Facebook group, facebook.com/group/travel, 2 Merida. But posted about that, and we had a wonderful time at the zoo, but it was hot, and humid as it is here. It is, July in Merida, which everybody should know is, at this point, is ridiculously warm. Let's see, how is the weather and the beaches in the area? The beaches north of us are nice. Like I said, where we went to yesterday in Kokomo, it was really nice. The beach, if you're thinking white sand beaches and really pure sand and blue water, that's not really it. The sand is a little bit coarse. You can tell there are layers of seashells in it as opposed to the real fine sand. And the beaches, I'll just be honest, there's some stuff on them that are a little bit green. So if you've ever been to some areas of Riviera Maya or even parts of Morales, they're not as pretty as, like, say, the Cancun hotel area where it's just turquoise water and white sand, really fine. It's a little coarse, but it was still really fun. I mean, people were in the water like crazy. The only thing I had to do a couple of times was kind of like pick up my kids and move them to the side of the, from one piece of fine sand, seashells, get them over that, and then to the other piece of fine sand. Once you got in there, the beaches are great. Enough waves to make it fun, but not so crazy that you can't go out and enjoy yourself. Just not, when you hear about white sand beaches and turquoise water, that sounds fantastic. That's not what this is, but it was still a really nice beach. The weather, just to give you an idea, the weather in Merida, if you look it up, will always, I shouldn't say always, most of the time will be 10 degrees warmer than it is on the beach, which makes sense. Merida is about a half an hour inland from the beach, so it gets really hot. Like right now I'm sitting outside, there's a little courtyard here, but an overhang right above me, and it's a nice, it's 93 to 95 outside and ridiculously humid, but under this with a few fans going, I'm very, very comfortable. If I got into the sun, I guarantee you the temperature would feel like it was 15 to 20 degrees warmer. So I've always said, like, when you're in Merida, make sure that you're on the shaded side of the street as opposed to the sunlit side of the street, because there is a huge, huge difference. But Merida, if it's 93 here, it's probably 83 to 85 on the beach. I think when we went, 2 days ago, or a day or two ago, whenever it was. I'm losing track of time already. That's the best thing, right? But when we went a couple of days ago, it was, 95 to 97 in Merida, and it was 86 on the beach. So 86 degrees, a nice breeze coming through. It was fantastic. And like I was just talking about when we went to Crabster, Crabster is this kind of big, tall, like a lot of the places here, tall ceilings, big open air place. And it had tons of seating, but it has a big open spot. The whole restaurant wide was open to the beach and to the water, and just the breeze, that northern breeze coming in, I was comfortable as could be. We'd been on the beach all day. We'd been in, a van all day where the air conditioning was suspect. As good as the ride was, the air conditioning was a little suspect in the back. We got in there and I felt completely fine. So the weather's been very hot, very humid, as you would expect in July in the Northern Hemisphere in general. But in Merida, it's obviously, it's a cooker, but it's fantastic. It was a really good day. Been to the Crafts was also like, oh man, isn't it? I heard, I can't remember if it was you that told me or somebody else told me that they have one in Merida now. So I'm gonna have to go find out where that is and become fat as a horse. Fat as a horse, that doesn't make any sense. Fat as a cow, fat as a pig, one of those, doesn't matter. I ate shrimp that were that big, like to my face, that big, with toasted bread and blue cheese, and I think Asiago cheese sauce that I've said several times, I believe is awaiting me in heaven when I get there. It was fantastic. So yeah, Crabster was amazing. But honestly, just the atmosphere was great. They had amazing, it was an amazing, beautiful place, very clean, tons of waiters, which you don't always get in some of the restaurants, not just here, but anywhere. It doesn't seem like there's ever enough waiters or wait staff. Here, there were plenty. Anytime that a drink was low, you got another one. Anytime that you needed something taken away, it was gone. I couldn't recommend Crabster more if I tried. It was just great drinks, great atmosphere, great people, great staff, great wind. The wind coming off the beach, like I said, was fantastic, and it definitely lent a good hand to the ridiculous heat that we were experiencing in other places, like downtown Merida, where we are now. But hey guys, thank you so much for watching this live stream. I really appreciate it. By the way, if you don't mind hitting the like button, that would be awesome. That just kind of gets this video out. It doesn't cost you anything. You don't have to subscribe or anything like that, unless you want to. Please do subscribe. But if you don't mind hitting the like button, that'll get this video out a little bit more and people can kind of hear about what's going on. Anyway, getting back to it. The place that we are staying, as I said before, is, and I'm gonna take a drink real quick, so before I get into that. The place that we're staying is right up Paseo de Mateo, as I said. But what is really cool about this place is it has given us several lessons on what we enjoy about this house. And as most of you know, the house that we're building, what we're looking for in ours. And not only have we been ridiculously excited to stay here because it is an amazing place, but, and I'll show this in the video where I go through the entire Airbnb, but what I've really seen is that in Paseo 60s, Jason, always on task. By the way, Jason is one of the moderators along with me on the Travel to Merida Facebook page. But Jason, thank you so much. It is awesome. I totally agree, and thank you for telling me where it is. Tim, Great Beef Club, Shalom, called Pilanita, Surf and Turf Burger. All right, I'm gonna have to try that too. I'm gonna get, if I didn't walk around so much, if it wasn't so hot here and I wasn't sweating like crazy, yeah, your videos got me. Hey, I'm glad you started looking, man. That's I don't know if you're a man or a woman person. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm glad that you started looking at Merida. It's an amazing, amazing place. But yeah, I'm between all of the restaurants that you guys have suggested. Jason actually created an amazing thing on our Facebook group, Travel to Merida. He put in this thing where it's a map, but he has basically said, dude, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I never feel right about addressing it like that, but I'm going on a live thing right now where I can't edit. So it is what it is. Sorry about that. But Jason put on a great thing on our Facebook group where you're able to basically send him a message or comment and, hi Houston. Roy, I do not blame you one bit for calling good afternoon from hot Houston and looking worried about it. That is fantastic. Because I feel the same way here. I'm sweating just sitting here in the shade and fans going on. But Jason put on this thing where you basically comment, and if you show him a restaurant, he will put it on, and it basically creates a recommended map of restaurants where people from the group, which I think we're in the mid-70s in group members right now, where you comment, let him know, and boom, he loads it into the map. And anytime that you come down, you have the potential to go to any one of all of the restaurants that we've recommended and see some amazing food. We have already been to Zinc, which is very close to us, a couple of blocks down that way, right behind us. I'm thinking east, west, north, south, but is just a few blocks behind us. We went there, I think the second day we were here, and it was fantastic. It's comfort food. They have all kinds of things. I had the salmon, and it was cooked perfectly. I'm a little bit different. I like a little bit more well done salmon, and they did it, and it was perfect. And they asked about it. Drinks were there, fantastic people. The owner of this AirBNB actually knows them really well, and came out, met the owners. They could not have been more pleasant. The staff there was just absolutely perfect. So if you stop here, definitely go to Zinc. Obviously go to Hennessy's, and again on Calle 60, go to Crabster because you'll get fat, and it's wonderful. So I can't remember where I was going a second ago, but we're gonna figure it out. But anyway, the place that we're in, not just the location. Oh, I know where we were. The place that we're building is massive, as most of you have seen from one of my videos where I go through the home in its prior condition, and right now it's just a pile of rubble. We're gonna go see it either this afternoon or definitely Tuesday, where we're meeting our architect, Henry Ponce, to kind of go over what's going on. But it's a 160 to 180 foot deep lot by about 30 foot wide. So actually the place that we're staying in is a little bit wider than ours, but nowhere near, oh, Blackbird just landed, nowhere near as long. So whereas this place where I'm sitting right now is kind of at the back of the property, this is going to be basically sitting in our kitchen at ours. That's not to humble brag or anything like that. That's just kind of saying like this is just a very differently shaped lot, and so they have needs that are different than ours. What we noticed the first night we stayed here, and this is something that has stayed with me, is even though, and I've said this in several videos, the walls in these places are between 12 and 16 inches in concrete depth. So some of the walls on the very front of the property are 16 inches. Some of the walls on the back of the property, which are not the historic side, are about 12 inches deep. The one right next to me, in fact, and the ones right behind me are about 12 inches of reinforced concrete. The walls at the front, while they are really good at keeping sound out, what they are not so good at is making sure that, I shouldn't say the walls aren't good. The walls are fantastic. What the doors are not good at is that they are normally traditional doors that, just being honest, they don't link up like, say, most places in the US where you've got, you know, a layer of, you know, insulation, and then you have the door clicking directly behind trim. These are traditional just doors that kind of meet like that, and you've got some spaces in between them. So right now, where there was a curfew at about 11:30 at night, when that happens, a lot of the noise stops, which is great. But during the day, if a car drives by or something drives by, there's an area to park that's just literally the width of the smallest car that you know, a very short, maybe 3 to 3.5 foot sidewalk, and then your door. And then there's traffic going one way up and down the street. Normally, it's not a big deal. We're on this side of the house where it's not, but if you find yourself on that side of the house, and let's say where we're sleeping, before 11:30 at night, it is loud as can be. Our particular house, Henry designed it so that you go through a media room, which is a big room, the laundry room, a bathroom, and then the first bedroom. And the first bedroom isn't even linked to the main entry foyer area. It's actually in where the courtyard is going to be. And again, for one of you guys that are watching that know the channel pretty well, I can do it later, but if you guys want to show people, just link that channel or that video where I go through everything. Don't feel like you have to. Anyway, you go through that, and that's where all the noise is going to be. So the first bedroom, the very first bedroom, is behind layer after layer after layer, wall after wall after wall of concrete, which is ridiculously helpful, especially if you're, you know, somebody like me who has a really difficult time going to sleep, and any car driving by is going to wake you up. That was the number one thing that I've noticed already staying in this beautiful Airbnb, is that is one thing I'm happy about with our place, and not so much here. One of the big positives about this place is that they have repeaters for Wi-Fi that are amazing. So I haven't had a single issue, and again, if anything starts lagging in this, tell me guys, because I'll try to adjust where I'm sitting or where I'm at. But I haven't had a single issue with Wi-Fi in this place at all. Cell phone signal, yes. Trying to get a cell phone signal into this kitchen, which is very wide open. Here, let me kind of swing you around here. So there's one big room, there's another. It's all windows on all sides of that kitchen. Make sure that this phone doesn't fall. There we go. But there's windows throughout, so it definitely, the cell phone signal definitely has a way to get out, but still you're dealing with a second floor up here, coming down. There is a lot of stuff interfering with your cell signal, and that's kind of been one of the more interesting things to kind of figure out is, okay, where in the house do I have cell signal? Where in this house do I have Wi-Fi? It's kind of hit and miss. Most of the time, if I've got a good cell signal, I don't have great Wi-Fi. If I have great Wi-Fi, good cell signal, or bad cell signal. So luckily, it's worked thus far. Obviously, it's working on this live stream, which again, if you don't mind hitting the like button, that'd be fantastic. But it's a really cool spot. And again, I can't say enough about the location. I mean, when you are literally right up Paseo de Mateo, it's just pure win in this place. So go them. And oh, let me show you the other side real quick. I'm gonna hit this. So this is the very back of the property. I'm gonna show you my double chin there. And they just had this nice little garden. Here, let me walk you guys around real quick because I think this will be really cool. All right, this is the first time I've ever done this on the live feed, so apologies if it looks a little bouncy. So this tree right here looks pretty normal, but that, my friends, is a lime. They have a lime tree and they have another tree that you can probably see the fruits if I just tilt you up a little bit. But this tree right here has a different fruit that I cannot remember the name of for the life of me. But they fall every once in a while. You can go pick them every once in a while. But they basically taste like sweet potatoes. And we've had them a couple of times in the morning. I see a couple of them on the ground. But they have this nice live garden, which I think, thank you, David. Good to see you again, my friend. But they have this nice live garden where you can just go out and let's say somebody in the house really enjoys, let's say maybe, I don't know, like a vodka tonic every once in a while, just enjoys that kind of thing, or maybe a Modelo Especial, that kind of thing. He can come out and cut the limes right from the tree, which is neat. Tim, what are you saying here? At some point, I definitely will help you with that. I had to do that in our house in Kansas City. So Tim just asked about repeaters for Wi-Fi to make sure that you have them throughout the place. If you guys ever have a question about that, please let me know. I've looked into it several times, and there's a way to do it right, and there's a way to do it wrong, and there are several ways in between. So Wi-Fi repeaters, especially in a place like this where there's a lot of concrete, Tim, no questions asked, ask me, and everybody else, do the same. But I think this is really neat about the garden with the trees and everything back here. And in fact, when we move into a house, I've already said I want a lime tree, I want an avocado tree, and even though they're not native to the region, I know they can grow down here. And that is, I really, really, really want to get a lemon tree. So basically, any cocktail that I want, it's available. Or fruit. Or fruit. By the way, thank you so much, guys, for tuning into this. I have been wanting to do a live stream down here. Like I said before, the situation with my wife's computer kind of threw it off a little bit just because it was a weird situation. She has this really cool thing. It's a hub for her computer at home. We have nice widescreen, and down here she just has a laptop, and they have a charger for the hub and a charger for that, and she just reached behind where it's my fault. I put all the cords and grabbed the one that she thought would work. It didn't work anymore. So we have one coming down that's gonna work out perfect, but that's gonna be in about 2 days. I think on Tuesday is when that thing's coming down, so we're good to go. Roy, yeah, so thank you for saying that. So Roy said the avocado trees need a lot of room and they need a lot of depth for the roots to grow. So actually when we looked at the property, there was a well originally on the property. There's several different pieces and parts, but we actually built our backyard. And again, that video is in, I think it's called My Home in Merida, Mexico. But if you look at the drawings of what we have, there are two spaces that have a ton of room. I have a sour orange tree, a fruit vinegar. Oh, that's a good idea too. I'm gonna have a lot of fruit. I'm gonna have somebody coming down and picking these things, or else I'm gonna have bugs out the you know what. But sour orange tree would be awesome too. But so the avocado tree needing a lot of space, we basically designed, again, like this house is pretty deep. But the way that we designed our house, it's even deeper, and there are 2 giant green areas on each side that, based on what we've seen here and what we have researched, we should be able to have tons of room for an avocado tree. But that is a very good point. They do need a ton of room to grow. I'm familiar with that in Kansas City, where I tried to grow one and it didn't work out. So I look really red. I think that's just a camera. I'm not sunburned or anything like that, even though I probably should be. I'm gonna adjust this real quick here. Da-da-da-da. So right behind me here is just a storage room, and you can probably tell the beautiful outline of the laundry room. In the video that is coming out hopefully tomorrow, I believe I'll be finished editing that along with Sebastian helping me out. We should have a video that's actually in the room next door to me where my wife is working. What can you not eat? Put in the bag in the front door. Oh, that's a good idea, David. That is a really good idea. I could just, either that or when we are in Chenbec, I can just go down to the market and hand it to somebody and be like, sell these, make a few bucks. Because where we are is the Chenbec market, which was renovated several years ago, but it's amazing. And they sell all kinds of stuff down there. So if we have anything else, then I'll just put it down there. Thank you very much. The house is, I'm excited to see the house tomorrow. This is not our house. This is actually an Airbnb house that we're staying in for the next, we've totaled 3 weeks, about 2.5 weeks at this point. But I think a fly just landed on me. But our house is, it looks like a minefield right now. They've definitely started doing construction. They're making really quick work of our house. I have to give them a lot of credit. If you look at the pictures, and I will post pictures, that's one of my videos. Once I go through everything, I'll post some of the pictures that we've seen leading up to the video that I'm gonna produce about our home. But yeah, it's come a long way. Thank you, David. But yeah, so it's coming along. It's about 12 blocks total from here. I think it's 7 south and 5 east, or maybe it's 7 south, 5 east from where we're staying right now. But it's a nice location. I mean, I don't think you could beat this location, as I've said already on this video several times, but the location that we're coming from, I mean, we're 5 blocks or so from Plaza Grande, tons of restaurants, tons of places. And just like everything else down here, all of the places in and around our house, there's, you know, all kinds of places to get food and drinks, and the markets and the grocery stores and parks and all of that kind of stuff. So we're really excited to finally see it. They said February. I'm hoping that's the case. I don't know if that'll necessarily be the case, but we're kind of hoping that is. But, you know, we couldn't ask for anything better. We're really happy with where we are. And, you know, what traveling down here proves on a consistent basis, you know, we went down here right at the very beginning of COVID when, you know, as most of you know, we came down here in February 2020 when COVID wasn't really a thing on this side, and then we left in March, had to cancel our original flight, move the flight a day ahead with the rest of our family, got out of here with 2 plane rides that were a quarter of what they should normally be as far as their capacity, and went back to Kansas City, where I counted the cars going from the airport to downtown. There were 15. So there were, David, I'll answer your question in just a second. But there were tons of situations where, you know, we've just kind of basically been here at a different time than it normally would be when it's open. Even when we came back in December of last year, everything was masks. Can't wait to see the video. Thanks, Tim. It's definitely coming. I just have to get to the house and see the construction, but I'm doing that on Tuesday, so it'll be recording like crazy. But, you know, now that we're back here, we're in the same situation. We're in the same threat level that we were in December. And honestly, outside of the mask, nothing's really changed. Nothing's negative. You know, everybody just wears their mask. Once they go to a restaurant and sit down and try to eat, they take them off, and once they leave, they take them in. It's been a really positive venture thus far. And to answer your question, David, have we met the neighbors yet? No, but this is a really cool thing, and Jason can attest to this. We have a place 2 houses down, 1 or 2 houses down, called, it's not our direct neighbor, but a place called Origin, which looks like one of the coolest places you could see. They've got a nice kind of hangout area with pool in the back, nice bar area. I can't honestly tell you what it actually is. It just looks like kind of a meeting space. They have like live jazz at times, they have art exhibits at times, private events at times. I'm really excited to get to know them because I think that could be a really cool place. And it also looks like they might have a couple of apartments for people to stay, which would be nice if we don't have enough rooms, which is hard to believe, at the place that we're building. There is a pediatrician directly across the street, which is nice when you have, you know, 2 young kids to know that there's a pediatrician right across the street. And then on the other sides of our places, there are, God, what is it? All of them, I think there might be a dentist a couple of places down, if I'm not mistaken, and then everything else is just kind of owned individually. So we've seen the neighbors, we haven't talked to the neighbors, but we've kind of done the wave, buenos dias, that kind of thing. And our block seems to be very, very good. There are a couple of empty lots. There are a couple of places that look like they need renovation. Sorry, I just had a notification pop up. Sorry if you guys are hearing that in your ear. Thank Walmart for that. But yeah, it definitely seems like a quiet but very nice neighborhood to be in. So we're really excited to be there. I haven't met any of the neighbors on this street. I've only seen a couple of things. By the way, speaking of the other day, that way, which is directly south of us, there was a motorcycle underneath the car and about 7 cops asking people questions that were in the area. I assume there was a motorcycle accident unless somebody placed it there and there was something else completely different going on. But nothing quite like staying at your house for 2 days and walking out and there's policia everywhere. So that wasn't a negative. It was just one of those like, whoa, there's a lot of people here. But also positive location. There's a taco place next door. The chain, the 6 chain, there's one half a block away, which is where we get ice all the time because the ice maker isn't really good here. But they do have a filter on the refrigerator and the ice maker so that the, oops, sorry about that. That was a chair, not me. But so that the water and ice coming out of the refrigerator are fantastic, which has been great because some, you know, like I said, certain people like drinks and stuff. Anyway, we're having a great time. So do you guys have any questions? And again, please hit the like button if you don't mind, I appreciate it. You guys have any questions about what's going on? I mean, I'm so excited. This is like, I'm actually 1, live streaming, 2, I'm live streaming from the place that I talk about on a constant basis that I want to live tomorrow. So, how's your Spanish coming along? I'm getting better, not great. My wife is, it's funny because if you ask her how her Spanish is in the city, she'd be like, oh, I've lost a lot. The moment that she gets down here, she's, was not me. It wasn't. I can show you the chair. It's right here. My foot's kicking it. Watch. Same thing. Or perfectly timed. Anyway. No, my wife's Spanish is actually fantastic. So most of the places that we go, and it's probably a crutch that I need to get over. Nicholas, I'll answer it in just a second. Absolutely. Because that's a good question. But her Spanish is really good. And the moment that we get down here and she's kind of quote unquote forced to interact with people that are speaking Spanish, it comes back like crazy. Mine, I can definitely, whenever I have to communicate, I can talk. But for the most part, it's very minimal. And most of it has to do with what I'm hearing, not what I'm pushing out. I can normally at least get away with what I'm saying, but hearing it, because there's a difference between somebody saying, hola, buenos dias, and somebody saying, hola, buenos dias, and continuing to go, that just the comprehension part is an issue for me. But it's been very nice to have her because she's very good at picking up on it and communicating. So that's how my Spanish is going. Well, but not great. Let's see. The weather is crazy. It's really tough to describe. So it's really, really humid down here, which I know most people are like, duh, you're in Merida, Mexico. You know, it's the Yucatan, it is what it is. But it's really humid down here. So this is the crazy part. The humidity works both for you and against you in heat. So when it is the middle of the day, it is hot and you are sweating. I mean, I could literally lift my arms like that and you would just see sweat from my pits. But the fact of the matter is that even though it is that ridiculously humid and hot, sorry again, getting notifications, thought I had those turned off. Anyway, getting back to it. It's hot, but like right now, it's about 93 to 95 degrees outside. I have fans going in this space and I'm under an overhang where I don't have direct sunlight, which you can probably tell by the lighting. I feel completely comfortable. When I first stepped outside, a little sweaty, but that's pretty much it. It's really comfortable, easy to hold a conversation. You get a cold drink in your hand, you're good to go. If I stepped into, and I'll show you this real quick again. If I stepped over there where there's sun, or over there, if you can see it, where there's sun, that probably made my face look gigantic, by the way, sorry about that. But if you step over into those areas, you're definitely gonna feel an immediate, almost smack in the face of the sun and heat. And there's another car alarm going off. But sun and heat and kind of crazy amount of heat that hits you when the sun actually hits you. If you're in the shade, if you have fans, you are good to go. The opposite side of the coin when it comes to the humidity, like I was saying, is that when we go out at night, like my wife and I kind of took our first real tour of the city, not tour of the city, that's wrong. We took a nice long walk and came back. But it was at night. Everybody was out on Paseo de Mateo. There were tons of people, lots of vendors, lots of restaurants open, lots of people and kids. And I'm weird because like we have our kids go to bed at 8 and these kids were up at like, 10 o'clock at night. And it's like, oh my God, that's crazy. But when it's dark outside, the humidity works for you because it allows the air to cool down. So even though it might be 95 and humid and crazy during the day, it was 72 or 75 degrees outside, nice breeze going on. And nice as could be. I mean, it honestly felt, I don't want to say it felt cool because it didn't, but it felt like you would feel in the city, like you would feel anywhere else. It just felt like a nice, easy walk where the heat wasn't a big issue. So during the day, right now, in the summertime, Northern Hemisphere, yeah, it is without question hot. But if you can wait till, the sun at least goes down a bit, it's a really, really comfortable city. I mean, a lot of the complaints that I normally see or that are normally commented is it's too hot for me. It's just too hot. It's like, well, what do you do most of the time during the day? For the most part during the day, you are working, or if you're in a place like this, you've got a pool, you've got a kind of a hangout area that's covered. Do that during the day, and then once the sun goes down a bit and it's not hitting you directly in the face or on top of the head, that's when you hang out. That's when you go out and you see the things and you do the things. Make your meals when the sun's out. Go party when the sun's not. That's how I feel. But yeah, so just to describe that for you, the humidity works both for you and against you. During the day, humid, hot, crazy. A little bit, the sun goes down just a little bit. It's fantastic. It's wonderful weather. And again, walking up and down the Paseo is beautiful. So yeah, that's been my experience thus far. And by the way, thank you all of you who have liked this. I really appreciate it. And by the way, I'm posting pictures like crazy on Instagram and our Facebook group. And I've talked about the Facebook group a couple of times in this, but Travel to Merida, travel the number 2 Merida on Facebook/groups/travel to Merida if you want to join that channel. Or if you'd like, and I apologize for doing that, I got some in my eye a second ago. Horrible timing. Or if you want to follow me on Instagram or any other social media, you can find me at Alexander from KC, like Kansas City, so Alexander from KC. I think I've posted at least four things of pictures just since we've been down here and traveling. I had to put a pair of, for those of you who are familiar with Paw Patrol for your kids, Marshall headphones on because we had a 3.5 hour delay from Kansas City to Houston. And so my kids needed some distraction in an airport. And when you are flying, I don't blame you for doing anything that you can to distract your kids. So I threw up on my laptop, put Tour Story on, audio wasn't working, threw the Marshall headphones on like a boss, and then made sure that it worked. So that was an interesting travel experience, but my wife took a picture of it because it was awesome. And so yeah, we had a really good time flying down, even though the delays were horrible. Eventually the kids kind of got a little upset, fell asleep on our lap, and then we got them here with just a few cries. Let's see, Tim, what are you saying? Back in the old country, I only carried an umbrella for rain. Now I often carry it for shade. Yeah, you're not kidding because it's hot. And Alexander, how's the weather out there? I just answered how the weather out there was, but it's all good. I'll answer it again. It is hot during the day, hot and humid. Nicholas, I don't feel like home. It doesn't make me feel like home. Nicholas, I'll answer that question about home in just a second. So the weather is hot during the day and humid is crazy, and cool in the nighttime, or I should say in the afternoon and evening. So it's ridiculously hot because of the humidity. And the sun is an MF, if you know what I mean. But once that's done and it goes down, the humidity works for you, and it's just a constantly nice feeling. So if you get a little bit of breeze, like I'm getting a little bit of breeze in here, I'm under shade, fans are going, fantastic weather. If you're directly in the sun, it feels like you're gonna bake on the sidewalk. And then if, let's say, you go out at night, couldn't be better. And then, does it feel like home? That's actually a really good question. Thank you for asking that. Sorry to throw out so many ums. I'm a theater student by practice for one of my degrees, and and is not a positive thing. But Merida immediately felt like home. When we stayed on the beach, it felt amazing because you're in a beach house, you can't complain about it. But we came in, the first day that we came into actual Merida proper we had some bad directions, some bad places, and it wasn't like it was bad, it was just kind of a bad, exactly, like here on the Gulf Coast, exactly, Roy. But it wasn't that it was a bad feeling, it was just like, this is crazy and this is a bad first experience. If I went to your house and you had a circus going on, I don't know if I'd want to come back. And that's kind of what it felt like when we first came to Merida. When we came back, we went to the normal locations that I've talked about on several of these channels, the Paseo de Mateo, Parque de Santa Lucia. Americans go home. Okay, I'm here though, and we're technically in North America, so I'm home. But, LOL, yeah. Anyway, so getting back to JK, I hope so. But getting back to it, we got into a situation where we came down here, and I've said this on several videos, but I pretty much knew immediately that because we had looked at several places in Mexico to purchase real estate, Isla Mujeres being the number one, I knew that was in the cards. And in fact, if I'm gonna say, like, I would have bet on it and put a lot of money on the fact that my wife wanted to buy a house down here, and I did too, there was no question about that. We didn't know if this would be the place. And that first day that we came back to Merida from being on the beach was like, I don't know if this is the place, but the beach felt good and we liked Progresso, so it was like, well, maybe we'll be in Progresso. When we came back the second time, we fell in love. You know, we were able to walk around the city. We never felt safer. I mean, I'm from Kansas City, which is in the Midwest, but there are places that I don't like to go in Kansas City, and I'm sure there are places here that's the same. But we've walked down back streets, we've walked down alleys, we've done all kinds of things, and everywhere that we've gone in the city, I've honestly just never felt unsafe. And so we really liked that. Our kids liked it. You know, we brought them down here, they had a great time, went to different restaurants. We'd go to restaurants and people would just gravitate towards the kids and make sure that we felt comfortable and, sorry, I'm getting messages. Our kids would feel comfortable and people would gravitate towards our kids in the restaurants and make sure that they were happy. That, I won't say never, but it rarely happens, even in the Midwest where we're from. And there were so many kids and everybody was very comfortable and everything just seemed to fit what we were looking for. And so within about, I don't want to say 5, probably between 10 and 12 days, we knew that this was the place for us. And we contacted a realtor who I've told you guys about several times and is active on our Facebook group, but Elizabeth Rodriguez with Yucatan Beach and City Property. And she found a few properties that we might be interested in. The place that we ended up buying was actually a place that I was not interested in at all. I liked the place right before until they opened the doors and, you know, the heavens opened up and orchestra started playing and all that. But just being honest, there are only a couple of places outside of Kansas City that have ever been an immediate, yes, I could live there. This is number 1 on that list. Number 2 is Siena in Italy. When we went there, I looked around and went, this is a place I could be. This is definitely a place I could be. I could live in Siena. Most of you are probably thinking, yeah, dummy, I could too. It's wonderful. But the difference between Siena and Merida is an entire day of traveling and back and forth and jet lag and Italy and all that, and 6 hours back and forth between Merida and Kansas City going through Houston. So it was a pretty easy decision. We started looking at those places and it was awesome. What do you think the 2 nicest months of the year are in Merida? I don't know. Okay, so Jay Jones, great question. What are the 2 nicest months in Merida? So I have to admit, I have been here in December, February, March, and now August. Jiu-Jitsu in Merida, my brother and I are moving there. I will answer, that's a wonderful question. Give me 1 second to answer the Jiu-Jitsu question because I'm excited to talk about that. So, when we have been here in the winter, it is nicer, just temperature-wise, it's fantastic. Now it is hot. It is ridiculously hot, but I'll tell you this, it's not as bad as people make it out to be. I mean, do I have a video getting out of USA here? Do you have a video explaining why, if getting out of the USA, should I look at? Go through, go through my channel with regard to the question about, do I have a video about that? Go to the video, I believe it's, the thumbnail is it safer here than here? That's probably the way to start. So just go back to my channel, check that video out. If not, once this video is ended, just comment and I'll post a couple of videos for you. So hang on to that question, I really appreciate that, or I'll go back through the live chat and let you know. But, and guys, if I don't answer your question, just repeat it. It's totally fine. But yeah, so I would say that the winter months are better, and that makes sense for snowbirds and things like that. I mean, it was like mid 80s as opposed to right now where it's mid 90s. But I gotta be honest, if you are in a situation where you don't mind heat or you're willing to try it out, it takes you a couple of days to get used to it. I mean, people make this huge deal about how hot it is. It's like, yeah, if you go out in the middle of the day and it's 103 degrees outside and humid, welcome to the Yucatan, that happens. But if you can hang out and work and be in the shade or be in the air conditioning for the worst part of the day when the sun is directly above your head, and then you go out when the sun is not and you hit the shade and do that kind of thing, it's fantastic. Like I said, I'm sitting outside and it's 95 degrees in the sun that way. I have fans over me, shelter over me, and I'm completely comfortable, and I've been on this live feed for 45 minutes, which means I've actually been setting this up for about an hour and a half. It's completely fine, even in August. You just have to get used to it. But the winter months are definitely a little bit easier to handle. So the jiu-jitsu question, I'm glad you asked. So I haven't been able to train for about the last three and a half weeks because I really messed up my foot, about 2 or 3 of the tendons of my foot, and I wasn't able to walk. I was actually wearing a boot up until we came down here. There is a Gracie school north of us, and there are a couple of other schools that I noticed, and I was really looking into it, and I had just started to, I believe so, yes, Roy. I believe the Flamingos are here in January, February, and I think that we actually saw them in late February when we first came down here the first time near Progresso. So good question. But I hurt my foot, so I haven't been able to train really at all weightlifting or jiu-jitsu, but they do have a Gracie school. They've got all kinds of, gyms between the ones that are small scale. They have a Planet Fitness directly above us to the north. That's probably the one that I'm going to try to go to this coming week since I can actually get back to it. But yeah, they have a Gracie gym. I don't know how legitimate they are. When we come down next time and I'm actually able to put a lot of pressure on that foot again, I'm excited to see and excited to kind of experiment with that. But it was horrific timing to get the injury that I did, so I wasn't able to really I don't want to say I wasn't able to contact anybody. I just didn't because I was frustrated and annoyed that I got injured right before we came down. But next time, bringing the gi, bringing the white belt down, unless I'm not going to be a blue belt by then, bringing the white belt down and hopefully going to be able to train with some people down here. But yeah, I just messed up my foot and it kind of screwed me over. I can't remember if there was a question that I missed, but if I did, please just comment the question again. I'm happy to answer. By the way, please feel free to like the video if you haven't already. Thank you. But yeah, so it's been kind of an interesting experience. Like I said, there's a Planet Fitness right above us. There are a couple of random gyms, but I've noticed that some of them have been shut down. So I figured, normally I would just go to the small gym because that's what I like more, that has the equipment. But from what I've seen, some of them are shut down. If I hear of one that is open, that has enough equipment that I can work out, then I'd rather go to that. But if there's a Planet Fitness that's open, I'm just going to do it, even though I'll get the lunk alarm probably pulled on me. Hey, thank you, Angel May. Appreciate it. I really appreciate that. We're excited to be here again. And like I said, it's actually really exciting. I didn't talk about this. My niece's boyfriend is down here with us. My niece and her boyfriend, they came down on the same plane with us and have been staying here since we've been helped out to in a significant way. They actually went to Chichen Itza today, so they're gone. But we've had an amazing time with them. They're two just great young kids. He's working on his master's. She is a vet, and the cool thing is she came down with us when we stayed at Guaymatoon. She's been down with us in Cancun. She's been down a few other times to Cancun as well when we weren't there with her family. But it was really cool because it was his first time, not just in Merida, but in Mexico in general. And it's kind of it's a different experience when you come here as opposed to Cancun when you're looking at an all-inclusive or something like that, because it's just a very different feel. He came down here and I asked him about 3 days in because it's a different experience. You know, you're kind of in a city more than you are in all-inclusive. The beaches aren't as pretty as downtown hotel area Cancun. I never really know. But I'm trying to hold on. Oh, my wife's on the phone. Sorry, I thought that was a kid yelling. It was just her speakerphone. Anyway, getting back to it. But it was his first experience, and finally, you know, my wife and I pulled him aside when she was getting ready, and just kind of asked him, like, what do you think? You know, are you happy? We're trying to figure out, judge, like, do we need to bring anything up? I've seen the Gracie School and a few others. I'm the oldest white belt ever. Heck yeah, dude. Let me know when you're gonna be there, because I'm happy to roll with you, especially if you're a white belt, because I always feel like I constantly roll with my instructor who's a black belt, and I just get thrown apart. It's always nice to roll with other belts that are similar to you to just kind of feel like where you are, but there's no problem with being an old white belt. That's cool. That's an awesome thing. You're still doing it, right? But getting back to the thing with my niece's boyfriend, it was really neat because this is his first experience. It's not like he went to an all-inclusive. It's not like he went to Puerto Vallarta. It's like he went to downtown Merida, Mexico for his first trip. And when we pulled him aside and talked about it, he was just blown away. He was so excited. He was like, love the place, love the people. You know, he really enjoys the fact that there's just so much to do, which is different here than where it is in a place like, you know, and I have nothing against Cancun, by the way. It's just a different experience. But most of the time when people see a place in Mexico, they see a beach. Or at least that's what I think most Americans and probably Canadians think. It's like, oh, well, I'm going to Mexico, I'm going to the beach. He liked the fact that this was a city that he could explore. And he's been to Italy too and done the same thing. So he really, really enjoyed the fact that it was a place that it wasn't just that it had a beach. It was that there was a story to tell and places to go and museums to see. And also you could go to the beach and have a great time there, which we did the other day with all of them. But I think that was a really cool thing to be able to say, that is Mexico, as opposed to all-inclusive. That was kind of cool. But going back to the jiu-jitsu thing, yeah, totally roll, 100%. I think I've been in it, 8 months, coming up on 8 months, something like that. So I'm not great, but I rolled with a white belt the other day when I messed up my foot. It wasn't the white belt that hurt me. It was I rolled with like 4 people. And I think I put too much pressure on it after a really bad leg workout. But yeah, it was nice to roll with a white belt. It's like, oh yeah, I'm actually learning something because somebody who's of my level knows I can do what they're doing and I can actually submit them. That was pretty neat. Got an arm bar and a rear naked choke, and they pretty much did the same to me. So it's all good. Well, do you guys have any questions for me? I know I'm good at ranting, as everybody knows from my videos. Progresso Cisal Tel Check are beautiful. From Merida, I live in Cancun. Angel May, do you enjoy Cancun or do you enjoy Merida more? I think that's the bigger question. The positive is it's 3.5 hours away by that ADO first class bus, which I cannot wait to take because I hear it's absolutely amazing. So, I mean, I think as long as you're in Yucatan, you're good to go. Tim, I could use an extra set of hands Tuesday for your filming. I'm in. It's the work site. You got it, man. I'll see how things go. Hold on just a second. I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. We have a doorbell going, and I'm not sure what's up. It's all good. Keys? Oh, yep. Hold on just a second, guys. Thank you. Hey, sorry about that. We had a random doorbell trigger, and gotta move my chair back. And I had the keys, not my wife, so she had to run in here and grab the keys. We'll see what happens there. But anyway, sorry, that was a surprise. Didn't realize that was gonna happen. Whoever just threw the comment up, could you copy and paste that and repeat it? Because I did not see it, and I'm only on my phone, so it only shows up when you post it. It only shows up for about 5 or 10 seconds. What's for dinner? I think, I don't know what we're doing tonight, but we're gonna go to La Trattoria probably the next day or two. A little Italian, get my niece and nephew a steak or some pizza or something like that. Thank you, Angel May. So we live in Cancun, but I love to visit Merida. Fantastic. That's fantastic. I think as long as you're in the Yucatan Peninsula, you're good to go. I mean, at least that's what it feels like to me. I'm sure everybody feels differently about where they're living and how happy they are. I watched the video of the migration to Mexico and USA. Feel free to add anything. That sounds great. Absolutely. But yeah. I'm a little sorry. I got a little bit distracted with the doorbell situation. So here's something cool. Have you visited the mall? I have not. I have not. I can't remember if that was a place that my wife visited or if that was a place that they were planning on visiting, but it got canceled. So for those of you who don't know, my wife spent a semester in Guadalajara when she was in college. And greetings, Angel May. And so she went kind of all over the place. The people that she stayed with had a place on the beach and then a place that was more interior. And so she's done all the random buses and everything else. I have heard it is lovely. I think that's one of the places on the channel that I get comments constantly about what I have or haven't done, and that's one of the places that people recommend. There's all kinds of beaches up and down this coast that I've seen some of the viewers recommend on this channel. So it's I'm excited to kind of see those places. You know, we've spent a lot of time in this area, and it's definitely concentrated time because we're in Bacalar. Yeah, that's one I've heard of too. I think that was in the last video that I had that somebody commented on. But no, there have been a lot of places that everybody comments on, and the weird thing is we're trying to get so familiar with Merida that I think we've kind of pushed off a few of these journeys. But the positive is that, you know, we're making an investment here that's going to be there for a very, very long time, and we're excited to have the place down here so that we always have a place to go back to. Because I think that's going to be, one, really good for our family, especially for those of you who've seen the designs of the place. We can have a lot of family members and a lot of friends down here at one time, and then we can kind of skirt off and do some of those longer voyages and some of those longer trips to different beaches and different towns and stuff like that. I mean, I haven't been to San Miguel de Allende, and that's one of the most popular destinations for expats there is. We looked at prices there after we bought our house, and I was happy that we bought our house in Merida because it looks like the prices there have absolutely skyrocketed. So, a little crazy. Sorry, just checking. Do you like the Spanish language proficiency? You're comfortable going out by? I am. So, question, Nicholas, thank you for asking. Due to my Spanish language deficiency, am I comfortable going out by myself? Yes. Best case example actually wasn't long-term buy a car, rent, ride share. It all depends on where you're living, David. I think eventually if we live down here for months at a time or years at a time, it's going to be buy a car. But ride share for us and walking works perfectly. The ride share is fairly inexpensive. Renting a car we've done when we lived on the beach because we were 20 minutes away from everything, so we had to. But ride share and walking has worked out perfectly for us. Short term. Long term, we'll probably have a car down here or share it with somebody else, something like that. We'll see. Before I forget, another awesome place. Awesome. We're definitely going to try it. Good Asian food? Heck yeah. But the Spanish proficiency thing is a really good question. One, Google Translate has been extremely helpful. So Google has this wonderful app called Google Translate, and if you have a question for somebody, you speak into it, it translates it, and it can either put it in text or it will speak the language. That has been ridiculously helpful. We had somebody come over who is the person who owns the house. The maid comes over and cleans, and we paid her to make breakfast one day. And that's how we communicated. She only spoke Spanish. My wife speaks Spanish to a very good level. But even at that point, it was, let's talk using this. And the back and forth was so easy using Google Translate. When I go out by myself, if I can't communicate, it's really easy to speak into that, show what it says, or have it repeat audibly what it says, and then I'm good to go. So 10 years ago, yeah, I would have been very intimidated to go out by myself. And even now, like there are times where I kind of freak out, but I definitely get through it. You just get used to it, honestly. But the truth is, the amount of technology that we have like that, it's pretty amazing. So, and it makes it so much easier. And have I encountered Mayans? Yes. Not this trip, because we've basically been in Merida, and obviously the Mayan population, the Yucatecan population is, I don't know if there's Vietnamese pho. That's probably a question for Tim or Jason Heipel on our Facebook group. I haven't had any down here thus far, but which it would be wonderful if we found some. But when we drove to one of the cenotes, and I can't remember which one it was, but it's one of the more popular ones, there was a significant Mayan population in the area. And so we ran into several, and for those of you who know, like the dialect, the language is very different when you're interacting there as opposed to even, Yucatecan Spanish language speakers. So it was good, not a ton of interaction, but just kind of seeing, interacting, understanding. I shouldn't say understanding, that's the wrong word to use, but seeing and interacting. Nothing too different than anything else. I mean, you run into different types of people all the time, and you work with it and enjoy it. Nicholas, do you enjoy the Yucatecan cuisine? I love the Yucatecan cuisine. Chicxulub Papillo is one of my, not Papillo is one of my favorite meals. That was actually one of the first things I had, and it was, I can't believe I mispronounced it, but it was wonderful. We had, I'm gonna kick myself when I watch this back again. Thank you so much. Yep, made it up here. We're doing good. Yeah, it's been absolutely wonderful to be here. Thank you so much for commenting. I can't remember what it's called. It's Pak Chuk, I think, is what we had the other night, and it was amazing. Jason, every time I see that statistic, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not trying to say anything weird. Is it that they're Mayan in some way, or that they're, I don't want to say traditional Mayan because that sounds weird, but they have Mayan blood. Like 70% have traditional Mayan ancestry, correct? Correct me if I'm wrong. Like I'm happy to be wrong. I'm an idiot. I just comment on those things, but I think that's what I've seen in the past. But again, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not 100% on that, and I'm happy to be corrected, and then I'll learn. Good, I'm glad. I always wonder, like this was kind of an experiment, but I think I might do some of this going forward, especially with live streams, because this is just my iPhone. For those of you who are thinking about being a digital nomad, your iPhone is apparently fantastic. It's working out well. But yeah, I think that was actually our Rappi app. We've talked about this, or actually, no, I haven't yet. Rappi, R-A-P-P-I. It's going to be on the video that's coming out tomorrow, but it's been a wonderful thing. So if you're coming down to Merida, or I assume, how's the beer? It's good, but there's no Miller Lite, which is going to piss my dad off. How's the Airbnb you're staying at? It's wonderful, Ellie. It's a good Airbnb. It's in a fantastic location. We've seen a few negatives, but I would give it a 99%. It is air conditioning everywhere, wonderful pool, wonderful outdoor atmosphere. If you watch this video over again when it goes live on YouTube as a video on demand as opposed to the live stream now, there's a lime tree and another fruit tree right over here. This place is absolutely amazing. I'd recommend it to everybody outside of people who are looking at renting our Airbnb eventually. But yeah, the Airbnb has been great. But yeah, I apologize, I kind of lost my train of thought on that one. But yeah, this has been, thus far, it's been an amazing trip. And obviously, the community has been great. Everybody, yeah, Bohemia, Negro Modelo. I like Bohemia. We got that the other day. Bohemia was good. Thank you for commenting again, by the way. Bohemia is good. Negro Modelo is, I like Modelo Especial, personally. I'm a light beer drinker. I'm a wuss. In the city, I like very, very cold Coors Light. And what's the reason that I want very, very cold Coors Light? It tastes like water. That's the reason. But Modelo Especial con limon, fantastic. Sol con limon, obviously amazing. But dark beers have never been for me. Talk about indigenous people. Oh yeah, so answering two questions at once. The indigenous people, we ran into several of the Mayan population. Like I said, Jason just mentioned that 70% of the people in Yucatan, or Yucatecan people, have Mayan in them, and I don't know where that falls. So that's all I was saying about that. Do my kids like anywhere that has a pool? Just being honest. We have a pool in the city and they love it. It's bigger than the one that we have down here just because the space affords us that ability. Thank you, I appreciate that. Let everybody know that it's underrated. But no, they really do like it. When we went to the zoo yesterday, it was awesome. Little scary. If you follow my Instagram, I'm not trying to plug it like 15 times in this, but at Alexander from KC, Kansas City, but at Alexander from KC. If you follow that, I think I have a video or a couple of pictures of it. If I don't, then I'll post it after this. But of course, Nicholas, this is why I'm happy to do it. Like, I feel like this is just hanging out with my friends. So much appreciated, and thank you for all the likes on this video already. It's very much appreciated. But no, when we went to the zoo, I always have this balance. I don't like animals in confinement, right? That's always a tough thing to kind of get over. On the other side of that coin, I always enjoy being able to see them and see them up close. So it's a tough thing. When we went there, Elliot, it'll probably be more 6 months in Mexico, 6 months in the States, several years from now. We go back and forth. If it was just me and my wife, we'd be down here full time, no questions asked. Go back to the city for a couple of months or weeks or whatever it might be, but we would be down here full time. The kids thing and the fact that we're really close to our family makes it really difficult to kind of give that up. But the zoo was a really cool experience, even though, like I said, there's moral issues there too. But when we went, it was really neat because you're really close to the animals. Like in the Kansas City Zoo, you're separated by 30, 40 feet most of the time. This one, they're right there. I could have literally leaned over the gate and put my finger in and not had a finger anymore. But we had a lioness roar at us, and it made my wife jump back a couple of feet, and I laughed because I saw that it was coming. But I mean, you're there with tigers and white tigers and ocelots and all kinds of other animals. So it was really cool. How does your family feel about Merida? Make no headway on getting my family out. Making no headway. Just bring them down. I don't know what else to say. It's an amazing place. Let me ask you a follow-up question to that. What's the reason that you're making no headway? Because I think that's the number one thing. If we know the reason, then we'll figure out how to get them down here. But the zoo is amazing, and they have the zoo, Zoologico Centenario, which is where we went, and then they have Anamaya, which I think we're going to go to at some point as well, which Anamaya is on the outside of the city, to the northwest, and this one, Safety. Safety. Okay, let me finish this thing about the zoo. Centenario is kind of in the city, and it's only about 10 minutes from here, and just a little bit closed off. One's bigger, outside of the city, smaller, really cool. Recommend going to them if you like zoos. Safety. Okay, next time that you're watching my videos, or watching especially on live stream, comment on this and say I was the person that talked about safety, because here's the deal. Merida, Mexico is the second safest city in North America outside of Quebec City. It is the safest city, if you include that data, in Mexico and the United States. And I can tell you one thing, if they're down here and you start walking around the streets even at night, they'll understand why. It's very, very different. There are some areas that you're kind of walking through and you're like, oh, it's dark outside and there's not as much light. We haven't had a single issue. Yeah, cartels, and that's an understandable thought. And while I will not say that there are not those here, that is not an issue when it comes to the overall state of being, as it were. I want to tread carefully here, not because I'm afraid of anything, but because I don't want to say, it's utopia and this is the best place you could ever be. Of course, there are wonderful places in every city. There are tough places in every city. But if you look up the data, and I have a video on this. Thank you, Roy, for putting that. Because you're exactly right. But I actually have a video, and I referenced it earlier in this one, but if you look up on my channel, I have a video that has the outline of Mexico with the Mexican flag, and the US with the flag of the United States, and it says safer here, Mexico, than here, the United States. Watch that video because I have a lot of data in it, and if I need to, I'll update this at the end of the broadcast and I'll probably just throw it in a link down below. But if you look it up right now and just copy it, you're gonna see that it is ridiculously sad. Let me read this real quick. Are you concerned with the influx of expats? No, I'm not. And I've addressed this on a couple of videos. So the question was, are you worried about Merida and the influx of expatriates coming in deteriorating what it is? So here's a fact. True expats, people who live here from the United States and Canada, I believe make up about 10,000 in a state of 2 million. The expat community is a very, very active community, and people like me who have purchased down here and aren't really sure, but don't necessarily plan on being here 12 months out of the year all the time, but who maybe snowbirds or something like that, they make up a significant portion of the population too. But when you hear about places that are being renovated, people that are here, all that kind of thing, if you really look at the data and statistics and talk to realtors or somebody like Henry Ponce, who's our architect who's redoing our house, yeah, a few years back, expats were a huge thing renovating these houses. Now, it's people that are from different cities in Mexico that are looking to kind of have their vacation home in Merida. So you've got places, people that are coming from Mexico City, or, you know, just name a city in Mexico, they're looking to come here because it's a safe place. So the influx of expats is one thing, but we're not talking about a city or a place like San Miguel de Allende that is kind of taken over by expats. We're talking about a city of 1 million people in a state of 2 million that has a small expat community that is active, but is honestly just kind of small. So no, I think it would take just a massive, massive, massive influx of individuals to come in and buy up all the property for it to ever be a true issue. Right now, I mean, walking up and down the street, do you see expats? Of course you do, especially in this area and in Norte, in the north part. But for the most part, I mean, this is just a lot of Mexican and Yucatecan people that are living here, enjoy the city, enjoy what it has, and a good expat community that's just very active. So I apologize, I kind of ran out of words on that one, but the simplest answer is no, I'm not worried about it. The longer answer is, based on the statistics, people like you and I may know about Merida, but I've talked to let's say I talked to 100 people about Merida in Kansas City, 2 people know about it. So no, I'm not too worried about it. All right, guys, it has been 71 minutes that I've been live. I want to start doing this more and more often, actually going longer and longer, so I can continue to answer all of your questions. Today, I see that my youngest is up in the kitchen, so I have to sign off. But if you don't mind sticking around for just a couple of more seconds while I do my outro, please feel free to visit me at Alexander from KC. Instagram is my main place. Text me any questions you might have. 816-727-7740, 816-727-7740, and that will just be something that's direct to you and me. You can also feel free to visit me, alexanderhowell.com. If you hit the Contact Us button, all that does is send me an email directly. And also, if you have enjoyed this content, if you appreciate it, like and subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. That lets you know anytime that I go live on this. Please feel free to like this video as well, but like and subscribe to the videos and to the channel, notification bell. I already said that, sorry. This is a live stream, so I'm gonna make some mistakes, but that really helps out growing this channel, and visit me on Instagram and stuff like that. I just love seeing everything that you guys have and sharing with you what we're going through down here as well. But yeah, alexanderhowell.com, at Alexander from KC. Like, subscribe, enjoy, and we've got a video coming up tomorrow where I just kind of describe the first 48 hours that we had here, the plane ride, the craziness, and all that kind of thing. Please feel free to watch that, like that video as well, so it gets to more people. And if you don't mind, always feel free to share any of the videos that you like. That just helps them get to more people, and that is the easiest, cheapest, and freest way to help me out with the channel. Guys, thank you so, so much for being here. We have had an amazing group of people that have tuned in, and I thank you so much for all of your questions from Merida and from the hotness. Peace. And now you guys get to see what actually happens before I edit the videos, because I have to actually shut it down. So I don't know what's gonna happen. This is the first time. All right, bye.